Hey everybody, got another video here for you. So, welcome to episode 7 of the Guitar 12 build. Okay, I went ahead and ordered up a couple different truss rod covers for this thing to try out. A couple triangular kind of ones, and then one was kind of rounder but pointy. And triangulars, one's rosewood, one's ebony, and then the pointier one is also a rosewood. So, see what's up with those. In the meantime, I pulled off the tape to see what the frets are looking like, and there was just a little bit of seepage under there with the clear coat, but I was able to come in with a blade and use it as a scraper and scrape it down without changing the appearance of the wood, so I didn't have to go through and scrape the whole thing or anything like that. And there were actually a couple other spots that were looking less than perfect, and I was able to use the same trick and just scrape, say like there was a spot here, I just scraped this one section between these two frets, and it would come out looking the same as the whole rest of the fretboard without having to touch any of the rest of the fretboard. So, very, very cool trick there. Yeah. And as far as the frets go, they're in pretty darn good shape. There's lacquer around the edge, the bottom of the edge of the fingerboard on both sides and at the end from where it wasn't masked off to make sure that I got all the neck wood. But I think that when I roll it, I can just come in with a bit of sandpaper and take that down, or perhaps actually do the scraping the binding trick for it. But other than that, I think just rolling this a little bit is about all that's going to be required. Make sure that truss rod's adjusted so it's flat as possible. It's a new neck, so it's probably not going to need any leveling or anything like that. So, should be pretty straightforward. 320 wrapped around a needle rasp. Well, I got the edges of the fretboard all scraped, and I don't think the frets need to be polished. They have a nice uniform satin finish on the ends from the sandpaper, so I think I'll just leave them like that. I was checking out the break angle, and looks like once this is shimmed straight, everything will be okay. Or I might want to put just one layer of shim underneath the bridge, possibly. But I went ahead and fit the bridge bracket into the body, and I just realized that I'm going to have to get some shorter screws for this thin body. I used to have a sack full, and they got lost in the fire. I probably would have made my own truss rod cover too, but the small screws for that is another thing that disappeared in the fire. So that's one thing I haven't really restocked here at the shop yet, is a selection of small hardware screws and such. So I'm going to need to get some screws for that bridge. Got some truss rod covers in, so I want to figure out which one of those I'm going to use, get that installed, and that'll show me where that's going. Then I can figure out where to put the string anchors. And I got a whole bunch of selections of screws, tuner screws, and M3 and M4 and M5 in different lengths. So I'll have proper length screws for the bridge and things like that. And so yeah, I'm gonna do the truss rod. I'm gonna roll the fretboard edges some more. I'm gonna polish it, And before I was thinking I wouldn't roll it anymore and I wouldn't polish it, but I changed my mind. And get the string anchors on, and then start messing around with the bridge. And I don't know how much it's going to fit in, 15-minute episode. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. So before I move on to the truss rod cover and the rest of that stuff, I want to finish up the fretboard work here. And what's going on is this the end view of your fret. This little top edge right here, this is side view. It's still kind of pointy, and they're in decent shape, but they could be better. So I'm going to try to get this rounded over a little bit, kind of an idea. Just long, say from here to here, that kind of thing. Just kind of knock that down a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and polish them up. And to knock these down, I'm going to start with some 320 and see if that's enough. I might have to go something coarser though, and then back down through the grits in order to get rid of scratches until I can polish. And when I'm doing this, I want to try to not take a whole lot of material off the end of the top in the process, or that could lead to problems with, when you're trying to fret it there and the fret's kind of low or whatever, because you rounded it too much. Yeah, that's the idea. Kind of polishes them up and rounds them over a little bit. I'm just going to keep hitting it with the 320. You get a pretty good satin finish, which ought to polish up straight pretty good without having to hit it up with any 600 or anything. Doesn't seem to leave any noticeable scratch marks, at least to the naked eye. Nothing that's really catching light or anything. So I'm just going to keep at it for a bit. Well, I went down to 240 in order to get them rounded over. Then I hit it with 320 and 600 to polish them up. But it's still got just a little bit at the very bottoms, so it looks like I'm going to need to touch them with the fret end dressing file. So this is what I'm going to be taking care of next. If you're looking down at the end of the fret from the top, here's the end here, this corner and this corner are still sharp, so I'm going to use the StuMac fret file, that kind of thing. Well, it looks like I've actually got a little bit of fret sprout on some of these. So this is my new fret beveling file. When I had to replace mine, instead of getting the kind that's a block of wood with a thing that's 45 or whatever, I got this kind because this way I can decide what angle I want to bevel my frets at. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently touch the end of these things with this and bring them down a bit. Okay, I after I hit it with the beveling file, when I came in with the half round and I rounded over the ends of the tops on both sides, and then I finished up with the rounding the bottom corners because I stopped about here when I realized that it really needed a shot of this thing. So done all that. Now I'm going to hit it with like some 320 and some 600 along the ends here to polish up these ends, and then it's on to real polishing with a Dremel. Okay, I polished up the ends with 320 and 600, and now it's time for the Dremel and the metal polish compound. Okay, battery went dead on the phone, so it's in the process of charging. I just took it off the charger right quick to shoot a little footage here. While I'm waiting, I went ahead and used the rotary tool and the polishing compound and went ahead and polished all the frets, and didn't get no footage of me doing it, unfortunately. All I did was I took the tape, tore off a piece wide enough to go across the fingerboard, tore it in half, gave me 2 clean edges, use it, mask off around a single fret, just take a little bit of this stuff. Yeah, just take a little bit of this stuff and put a little bit of my finger, and then smear it on the fret, and then hit it up with the rotary tool with a little buffer wheel on it. At maximum speed, gets you best results quickest. And I went ahead and did that, and this thing's still only at about 25% charged at the moment. A little dirt there. So now I'm doing the truss rod covers, and these are the 3 to choose from. We've got rosewood in 2 shapes, and then we've got an ebony here. It looks plastic, but yeah, it's actually ebony wood. And I checked out each one. That's kind of nice, the black and black, but I also like this kind of two-tone thing you get with the rosewood going on. I also kind of like that, but I want to not use up all this space. I want to try to get some anchors and keep the anchors closer to the nut. So in the end, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing and cut it in half. I'm going to use this half of it for the truss rod cover. And I'm going to go put the phone back on the charger now, and I'm going to play with that while the phone's still charging. So you don't get to see me cut this in half and drill holes and stuff like that, but that's life. Use your imagination. I'll be back. Okay, phone's all charged back up, and while it was charging, I polished the frets, and I did the truss rod cover. What I did was I just took the truss rod cover and cut it in half, and I used the bottom half flipped around in order to use that as the truss rod cover. I ended up using one of the triangular types, and decided that looked best. So, and then I've marked out and drilled it for the screw anchors. When I did the truss rod cover, I cut it in half. I sanded it nice and straight and flat. Set it up in there. Used the awl in order to mark where the holes would go. Used the drill in order to drill it. And I was using one of the stop collars and just drilled it close. And it made me realize, using that stop collar, that stop collars are really no good on a finished surface because they'll leave a mark. So, it's a tool that you can only use like in the wood shop on unfinished stuff. So that's the reason why you see tape on this thing for when I was drilling these holes. So then, yeah, drill holes, put a little wax in the holes themselves, and then put it in with a couple of tuner screws. And then laid out the string anchors and drilled them and put wax in all the holes. And now I'm screwing them in. I actually had to order up some micro or small Phillips heads because regular, like, what was I using? I was using like this size thing, and that was actually too big to get all the way down in there. So I had to order up, like, $7 set or whatever. Nice little set though, actually, and they work just fine. So I'm in the process of putting these guys in now. You just it's an interesting design. The screw for the anchor, it's the type that uses one pin, a locating pin here, and then a screw here. But the screw is actually underneath the lock, the grub screw lock, and it's underneath the hole as well. You can, yeah, there you go. There's your hole. Yeah, and the screw is actually, let me get that hole back. Well, but anyway, yeah, the screw is actually underneath the hole. So you just, put it in position and put your screw on and get your screwdriver. And screw it on. And then once you've got it screwed in, then the lock grub screw goes in the same hole above the Phillips head screw. And the string actually gets locked kind of like between the bracket and the grub screw above the Phillips head screw, just above the Phillips head screw. So that's 2, and I got 4 more to go. And there it is with all the anchors and the truss rod cover, locks on the nut, polished frets, and that takes care of the neck. It's all ready to go. About the only thing it still needs is some oil on the fingerboard, and that would be about it. So it's all ready to go. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. So until the next one, everybody, have a good one.